Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Kurosh, joined always by my co-host, Daniel Vargas. And Dan Jang.
Mozambique.
And if you're not familiar with what we do, we drop in every Monday.
With perfect IVs.
With perfect IVs on Twitch, on SoundCloud, on podcasting services of your choice. We usually sit around a table. We have some fun topics, usually nerdy in nature, movies, games, comics, fiction, books, everything in between, all that stuff. And we have some fun. Again, if you're familiar with what our latest trend is, we jump straight into the topics first, and then we save the after chat for later. I've been putting the time codes in for that, so if you want to just go straight to that or if you care about certain topics, that'll be in the description of wherever you get your podcast. So with that, let's dive right in. Where are we dropping, boys?
We can go with
Skulltown.
Okay.
Ooh. You can go with mine first.
All right.
So my topic, it has to do with daylight saving times as well. I want to talk about movies that mess with the timeline. Either we go back in the future, forward in the future. They slow down time, rapid time. But I want to choose a few movies you guys really enjoy that have to deal with time.
I thought of a few for sure, but I'm like, there's some that are
I can throw one in there real quick.
Drop it in.
Groundhog Day.
Okay.
That one does a fantastic job. It gets dark real quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like. Because, it's not going to be... I feel like a lot of movies will just show the happiness, or
Really?
I mean, not every movie, but...
Oh, wait, for time or in general?
In general.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
Yeah, okay. I agree with you now.
Yeah.
Sorry. 9 out of 10 time movies don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but with this one, dude, he gets it on. He learns everything.
Yeah, he just becomes
things.
I'm immortal.
Yeah.
Do you know how long he stays stuck in that day?
I mean, there's
there's a calculate. Some guy calculated all the skills that he learned.
But it's still
30
I guess
something years.
Damn.
Just ice sculpt, it takes a certain amount of time to learn that good, and they calculated it all. He was stuck in there for 30 years.
Fuck.
But in reality, he just.
I mean, what is your reality?
It's a simulation. What is life?
That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, this isn't a movie, but Russian Dolls.
Oh yeah,
I
still haven't seen it.
I recommend you guys watch it. I'd want to have a discussion about it because it talks about a lot of things, but
The Michael Jackson memes.
That guy. Yeah, but Russian Dolls has a lot of different metaphors and symbolisms and messages. But one of the things it messes with in the terms of how the story structure is time. Or lack thereof, because it's sort of like that Groundhog Day premise, but it kind of spun out in a different direction. So it's cool to see reinventions of that Groundhog Day sort of concept. I don't know if Groundhog Day was the first time that was done or not. I'd be curious to look into that. But yeah, what about you, Jing? I know
I'm gonna go with the best. Back to the Future.
Let's go to the hot topic. Which Back to the Future?
I think the first one is the best one.
You think too?
The first one's my favorite. I feel like that's you can't argue, or you could, but
USC Film School, that they consider that the perfect script. There
Really?
isn't a script, just script. They're not saying movie,
Yeah.
but if you just look at the script, it's so solid.
okay.
10 out of 10. They use it to analyze script writing.
Okay. I didn't know that. USC? Cool. Shout out to USC.
But I mean, they took
LA Book Festival.
They took the concept of what would you do if you killed your grandmother? Would you be born? They said, what would you do if your mother wanted to sleep with you? Fucking, dude, that's so smart. Dude.
That inspired a whole porn genre.
And it's crazy. I read a book about the making of it. No one wanted to pick it up.
Really?
Disney was the only one that wanted to pick it up, but they wanted to censor it. And so Spielberg threw his weight in. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna fund the film. Let's make it with Universal? Yeah, Universal, and the rest is history.
The rest is in the future.
Calvin Klein.
I mean, with the cast too, so iconic. Christopher Lloyd is just forever known.
Even Crispin Glover.
Yeah, everyone. You're right.
So did you know they replaced him? The second film is not Crispin Glover. It looks like him, but
really?
That's why they had him. They hung him upside down to make him not recognizable.
Wasn't the girl as well the friend? Or
his girlfriend, yeah. His girlfriend was replaced.
Because I remember the chick I think was in the later ones was the one in Tremors.
Oh, okay.
That's where I know her from. And she was also in Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon. 2 Kevin Bacon movies.
Fucking Crispin Glover.
Biff. I love Biff, that actor. Yeah. I know. So I think that's one of the ones. One of my picks is Terminator. The franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Because like all the time, I hear of 2 philosophies of time travel or the way time travel works or the physics or the laws of it. One is the Back to the Future thought process, and one is the Terminator thought process, which is like it's inevitable. Like no matter what you do, it'll correct itself into being a certain series of actions.
And he'll always decide to come back.
I don't know if Back to the Future clashes with that, but I know Back to the Future's thought is when you go back, it's a new line from that point on.
Yeah.
So I guess the way it clashes is that it means that things aren't going to be inevitably a certain way. But just like the thought of John Connor needs to be born because his son has come back in time to meet his mom and get with his mom. It's like both of these movies have very weird mother-son family relations, if you've noticed. But yeah, I at least the first 2, I love what they like do with like how time and.
But which one's your favorite Terminator?
2.
Which is in the first film. That song. Yeah, have you ever seen that deleted scene? It's like, yeah, man, loosen up. Why don't you smile more? And Arnold.
Wait, that's deleted scene?
I think that's a deleted scene.
Oh man, then I saw that in the first version I watched. One of the first 2 DVDs when DVDs were like the new thing was Terminator 2. It was that, The Matrix,
Robert
and
Patrick.
Fucking all. When I saw, whenever I, oh yeah, that song. 2 things that I grew a fear of because of that movie: semi trucks and people that run in a certain form. If they're doing this, I'm like, I don't. You're fucking like
the way he like loaded the shotgun was.
Oh, he made shotguns and motorcycles fucking like just fucking defined a generation.
You know, now I think about it, he probably like had a lot of older men like buy motorcycles just because they saw this and like, I could look that cool too. Probably.
I'll be back. Yeah, the grenade launcher thing. I love the. Boom,
oh yeah.
That whole like when he's on the floor and all the cops are outside and he's just like tear gas and just.
That's a good film.
And it's such a great like I think of that pitch like how hard that must have been. It's like all right, we're gonna have this robot thing. It's gonna be like a horror movie. The first one it was a horror movie. For all intents and purposes, because it's like this thing just was after this woman and she's running and sort of had that like Mike Myers Halloween vibe to it. And then like the second one, the first one even they're like we're gonna have a guy come in and save her, but it's her grandson, but he's gonna get with her because they need to have their son so that this whole thing gets saved. They're like, just let him have it. Whatever, we'll see what happens. Give him the Austrian guy. He needs a job. I'd love to see like how that made it through the final cut. And then the sequel, James Cameron's like, I wanted this to be an action movie now. And they're like, what? Like just liquid, like you know that what's it called?
Nitrogen?
No, High C. Those commercials.
Oh, yeah.
We want that, but like as the villain, as a cop that like. So that's Terminator.
It's a good one. Another one I got. So I'm not doing like crazy timeline ones.
Sure.
Yet. Planet of the Apes, the 1968 one.
Yeah, the original.
Yes. So those, like, I mean, I don't know if it's ever said that he does travel through time, but essentially, like, he's supposed to go out of Earth and come back, or well, he's supposed to be heading in one direction.
Yeah.
And somehow he lands back on Earth, but much more in the future. And they've been taken over by apes. This whole planet, like the apes are now the smart people, and humans are being caged by them and stuff like that. And later in the film, the iconic scene where he finds out that this is happening is he sees like the arm of the Statue of Liberty. And he damns these dirty apes, you know. So,
damn you, dirty apes.
So yeah, and it was just like that's one of the films where I saw this and like it blew my mind.
You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, like
perspective.
Yeah, to see this, I'm like, dude, he's been on Earth this whole time. Like he never even like went to another planet. He just came back to Earth much later. And it could have been like he just was in cryogenesis like fucking 1,000 years and then came back or something like that.
And
But
the Tim Burton one was confusing as hell. The ending.
Well, they say that one's in the same timeline as the Andy Serkis ones because they make a nod to like a ship going off, and the ship that's in the new ones was the ship that sent Marky Mark into space, but too many good vibrations.
Not enough.
Not enough. What do you got?
TV show. Second best time traveling, The Constant. From Lost.
Oh,
Desmond.
fuck.
Desmond going back in time and you're my constant.
Such a good.
the only story I've got with that is I've seen like a handful of episodes of Lost. The Constant was one of them. Not knowing
Desmond's
that it
story?
was. Yeah, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. Like when I saw it, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like
A
it
lot of
made
people
no
didn't.
sense to me. Like not having seen like anything else before, I see this episode because it was my dad was watching, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What are you watching? Let me watch an episode with you." Happens to be this Constant episode. I have no fucking clue what happened. I'm like, probably not for me, and I just never really got around to watching Lost.
I like the transitions in the episode where it's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And then he's like in the
Oh
present.
my god, that was
He's
such
like-
well-made episode.
And
His
when-
story was so amazing.
Yeah, whenever you saw him, like, because Lost, it focuses usually on one character each episode.
yeah.
When you see him, oh, okay, this is going to be a good episode. Like, whenever he came on, I was like, okay, this is going to be a good episode. And what's crazy is there's a nuclear physicist who said that's probably the most realistic way time travel is possible with consciousness. He said it's really difficult to use like energy and to go back in time fast enough and survive that. But he said through consciousness is probably the most realistic way.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was himself going, but it was his mind constantly flickering between these two time periods, and like remembering that in order for him to like stabilize, he needed to get a constant, and like his constant was his lover,
Yeah.
the person who he left and has been stuck on this island and wants to get back to. So it's like this 8 years. It's like 8 years, Penny.
Do you remember Daniel Faraday?
Yeah.
I remember there's one scene where he's like writing, Desmond is my constant. I was like, fuck.
I love that. I mean, a lot of people give a shit, but you can't fuck with Desmond's story. It's such a good. I love that episode. That's a great. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. As a time
So this is
travel,
why I didn't want to like lock you guys into a certain.
but you did,
I did.
and we're locked in this timeline now. I gotta say one that's a little. I don't know. I'd say obscure, but it has its following. It's Primer, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I saw
It's
it because
confusing.
people were saying like it has one of the best like versions of
I feel like
time.
one of
It's
the most realistic.
It's
You're
really
realistic, and I saw it and I was like, I don't understand it. I wasn't too into it,
Yeah,
so a lot of it was lost on me.
It's confusing.
I got to really
it is.
follow
Sure.
Well, like there's a bunch of threads, and it's rewatchings of people recommending like this is how it loops, but it's like essentially like looking at it's what it was two math, physics, or engineers. I forget one of those three professions. They decided they're like we want to be filmmakers, and they made this movie. So they tried to ground it as much as possible based on what they know of like current thoughts of time and how it works. And they were like, oh, you're gonna enter this box. It was very low budget. And you're gonna enter this box, and then you're gonna come out. But in order for nothing to break, you have to follow these rules. And it was sort of like how Back to the Future was like, you can't run into your other self because that'll mess with things. You can't do this, you can't do that. So it's like, how do you take advantage of it? Or because they wanted to take advantage of it, so they were trying to do certain things so that their next self, and it's this ongoing cycle that they have to keep looping. But what happens is, certain things go awry as what happens with a movie, and so like the loops start deviating, and like each one is like, wait, at what point did it break, and where are we watching? And when it goes back, are we now in a new one, or are we fall? It just like it, yeah, you get cross-eyed. But I really enjoyed it because it challenges you. It's like, all right, you just strap in, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So that's one of mine.
Yeah, that one was a tough watch for me. I had to rewatch it though for sure. One that I just entirely enjoyed, 12 Monkeys.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, the movie, right?
Yes, the movie.
I haven't seen the show, but I know I got a TV
yeah,
adaptation.
I've seen like an episode, I think.
That movie, yeah.
but yeah, the movie.
Terry Gilliam directed.
I don't recall. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Terry Gilliam. But
Brazil.
yeah, fantastic, dude. Oh my god, it was so good. Do you guys have another?
I don't know. With that one, it makes me think of Terminator in some ways because it's like he's trying to prevent something from happening, but it's just
Like
all things are like derailing him, and it's like, is that how?
The thing is, like, is it? Because the way I took it was, it's not that change isn't possible, but that in response to trying to stop something, they recreated it again, kind of thing.
So yeah, then you're wondering, was this the cause the whole time, or you know,
and then it
that
just
loop?
becomes, from that point, it becomes an infinite loop. But yeah, because like it ends up at the end is I believe he was the catalyst. He's trying to escape and he causes it. I think at the end, or not escape.
I thought he was the reason that caused the motivation of that one guy.
Yeah. So
It's a good movie.
This movie's not all that great. Good concept. Project Almanac. It was like
Oh yeah, it was a
pitched-
few years ago.
yeah. There were some cool moments where like the guy
Watched that?
I don't think I
So like they're like, yo, let's go to Coachella, and he buys VIP passes already finished, but they go back in time to visit Coachella. Like there's some cool moments in it.
Okay.
The ending is very open ended where they're like, no, there's this other cool part. He likes this girl, so he tries to ask her out, and he messes up. So it's like a redo. Okay, I can redo it, and he eventually gets everything. Whereas he's psychic with her. He's like, oh, you da 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 da. So she's like, oh shit, how the fuck you know that? So I thought I was like, damn, that's pretty smart.
It's like a video game run. It's like try a new dialogue tree.
And I like how it ends because it leaves it open ended. They're like, oh shit, so what should we do now? I don't know. Let's change the world. And I was like, oh shit. So they're thinking about killing Hitler and like doing all this crazy shit because they just wanted to have fun and shit just went crazy.
Yeah, out of hand.
But
I just had one that just escaped me because what you said reminded me of one.
Project Almanac.
No, there's one I want to definitely mention.
I have one more.
Okay. Well, okay, I'll mention one of the for sure ones I had. Interstellar.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we all maybe thought of that at some point.
Yeah.
The moment where it really hit me, they explain a lot of the time, how time in its working in terms of relativity and everything. But like, they were on that water planet for literally like what 5 minutes. They were planned to be there for 5 minutes,
And it was a little longer than I think.
and because of one little thing, they were there for 7 minutes, and it fucking there's a guy back on the ship that they're like, it's gonna distort time, and that extra 2 minutes cost them years. For that guy.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like elderly. He's had 30 years of research, and it's like,
He's like
damn you.
super calm. He's like, at some point I gave up. I thought you guys died. And it's just like,
That's crazy.
and I'm like, imagine what it was from his point of view this whole time, like Castaway, but like on a 30.
2 minutes is another 10 years or some shit. Like,
Like that fuck. I was like, whoa. Like it just full face in your face. It was nuts.
yeah. I thought that movie was amazing. They did such a good job with that stuff.
Yeah.
And from my understanding is like, scientists use like the video of them going through that black hole.
The visualization
Yeah,
of
the
it was
visualization.
like the first time anyone's like illustrated it in that way, and they got
Yeah.
like a patent or something for that.
Yeah. it's
For the
crazy.
people that redid the research for it. So that was pretty cool.
Mine is a favorite that like I feel like it was such a fumble in theaters.
Really?
Edge of Tomorrow.
What? That was a fumble?
Because they had, what was it? It was
Was
their original
called
name
another
was
game.
Live.
No,
Or
so it
another.
was originally called Edge of Tomorrow. Then literally like a week later, they're like, Live, Die, Repeat is the new
Yeah.
name of this movie.
Oh
What?
my
Fucking
God.
Edge of Tomorrow, dude. It's Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and like I remember just like
It's
everything
getting a
was
sequel.
plastered. Yeah,
Oh,
I've
shit.
seen.
With
But
Tom
yeah,
Cruise?
it did such a good job. I think it was having to do with aliens. We're essentially setting up like respawn points,
Yeah.
and so everything caught in this respawn point we're looping essentially, and so
Bill
they're trying
Paxton.
to, they're trying to. It was
Damn.
such a good
Rest in
concept.
peace,
such
dude.
a good.
Yeah. It's another one of the Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
but
dude.
like, it felt like a video game. He's like, all right, this time I'm going to make it longer. And he's
Yeah.
getting through the level.
And I love,
Fuck, dive.
I love that it does that scene where it's just like over again, and he's just like, right back into it, right back into it, and it's like, dude, oh god, this is how it should be.
That was, one of the best video game movies.
Yeah, adaptations because there's no video game for it yet. But
But it's based on a manga, I believe. I haven't read it, but I've heard it's good.
do you know the name of it?
I don't off the top of my head.
You're good. You're good.
Wikipedia.
While Jang tells us his, I'll look it up.
I have two more, but it doesn't make sense to me. This one, Looper. But I think it's a really cool like
I like that movie.
concept. Doesn't make sense.
I don't remember. So
All You Need Is Kill is the name of the manga.
Ooh.
So with Looper, is they were sending agents back in time to keep people that were going to do something.
So they had hired hitmen, and part of your hitman contract is that at some point you'll expire.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they would send someone in the past to take you out, and then the cycle would just continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is when they send older Bruce Willis
Willis.
character back in time, something happens where his hood gets knocked off. He didn't know who he was about to kill, and it turns out it was going to be himself.
Yeah.
And it hesitates, and then shit goes awry.
Yeah. But there's a really cool scene where the guy is like running away, one of the guys, and they start
Fucked.
cutting his past self, and then his future self is losing limbs, and
That fucked me up.
I was like,
Because like by the end of it, you just see like an eye disappear, and
Yeah.
you're like,
They're taking an eye out.
we're seeing what's happening to this guy, kind of ancillary to what's really happening to the young guy, and it's like, and you just see at the end like he's got nothing, and like the door opens and drags him in.
That's crazy.
there's a really cool scene though, like where they talk about two timelines where he goes to France or China. Yeah, I was like, damn, the way they depicted it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It was cool how like there's a mafia that worked that way. Like the idea of like this is a mafia, and like this kid grows up like drawing certain things, and it sort of made me think of an X-Men thing where they're trying to take out like a kid version of Apocalypse, and in this story, it's Rick Remender's writing the story, and they're like, is this is like a baby, like would you kill Hitler sort of if he was a kid?
Yeah.
And it had that concept to it. Like this one, I think Looper had a similar thing where it's like a kid who's as far as his time travel is concerned, he's the reason this mob exists. So does taking him out cause it, or trying to take him out cause it, or does it's change things?
Yeah.
That blew my mind. As amongst other things. I'm still thinking of what I forgot, but another one of these Groundhog Day style ones was Run Lola Run. I love that movie.
Never seen it, but
Really?
I've seen it.
it's like was it with Mila Jovovich?
No.
No? Oh.
It's a German film. You could recognize the actress, but it's essentially Lola, the protagonist, and she's running through a day of like a series of things she has to get done, and it's like it's important stuff. It's like she's got to get something done by the end of the day, or else some bad stuff happens. And it runs through it a second time and a third time, and you're like, whoa! Like when you start the movie, you're like, this is just going to be a suspenseful like hour and a half movie of her doing that. But then when it finishes early and you get reset, you're like, wait, what? And it redoes the day, but different things happen. Just so many things about it like make you think of like what a game would be like as a movie, with the idea of like starting a new life, redoing a scene, but familiar with like the level. Like Dark Souls makes you think of that in a lot of ways. You're dying, you learn, and so with what you learn, you go forward.
So I recall vividly like that I've seen it. I don't remember.
I remember it had a good soundtrack.
Was this is so the protagonist Lola, she's redhead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks kind of like Fifth Element.
Yeah. I've seen it. I don't remember it being that way. I don't remember it. That's like it just doesn't. It wasn't something I was like it stuck with me.
It was in movie class or something. I think I forget.
So I've got a few more, but I'm just gonna end it. I think with Arrival.
Oh yeah.
Now Arrival doesn't have much to do with time, but like it was the way that
I think
they
it has.
depicted language was through time. She was seeing memories of a future, and this was the way that the aliens were communicating. I thought that was really cool, really cool thing.
That was
I like the way the movie depicted her daughters, because in the book, she gets killed by like a accident, like a outdoor activity type of accident. But this one is like cancer.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, what I like about I don't know much about the book, but with the movie, cancer makes it almost inevitable. Like you can't really stop it. Like there's no point. And there's a point where she questions like, should I continue with my life and have all these things even though there is an ending to it, or should I change it? And she chooses to continue that life. And this is all seen through the language of those aliens. So it's like I thought was a really neat thing.
dude, knowing the ending to that fucking story, saw the first 5 minutes of the film, I was like, oh my god, dude. Tears,
I think it still had a. I mean,
well, I knew the outcome, so the beginning was like, oh, like a gut punch to me. Like,
I love the way it was telling a story of the barrier of language and how much of a challenge that is, and how like trying to meticulously break that barrier down is so interesting.
Yeah.
So,
My last one. I hate the time travel aspect of it. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't like. It doesn't make sense. It's like that Looper thing. It doesn't make sense.
Is that the one where he sees someone save him with like that light, and then it turns out it's him later on in the film? Okay,
He thinks it's his dad, but it's not.
it's him just with more power throughout that.
Expect
That's it.
Alphonse Cuarón directed that
Yeah.
one. I don't know. That was one of my favorite of the three, but that element of it I keep forgetting because that film had the least amount of Hermione in it, as a result of like the plot devices of
Which I
Rock
feel like-
throwing and
Which I feel for like something having time, like time reverting things in the movie. I think Hermione would have been a good person to have like understanding and like.
Well, it
done
is
better.
because of her
Yeah.
that we understand it, but it was just like such a like end of the story. It's like, how do they get out of this? And it's like she comes in to save the day, but she was sort of like the third wheel of the group in a lot of ways.
I do have one more, but I'll come back. Here we go.
The one I remember now is The Science of Sleep.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
It's an indie film.
yeah, a French dude. I
Adam
think.
Sandler? No.
No.
No, it's
It's from the
It's-
director that did.
It has stop motion in it though, right?
Yeah. It's from the same director that did. Fucking.
Life is Beautiful.
No, the one with Emma Watson and Jim Carrey.
didn't see it.
The one where he's like, make me forget this relationship.
Oh, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Same director.
Okay.
Did this one. And this guy, like, it's like a quirky romance thing, but he makes an invention, and it like, in the movie it works where maybe it wasn't even a time travel movie. It was just one skit. He makes it, because occasionally it'll get weird and out of this world where his hands become like weird shit. And one element was like, he makes this little like cardboard Nintendo Labo looking thing where it's like, it resets time by 1 second. And he has exactly, and he's like, what good would like 1 second do? And he like, you see him trying to like flirt with her, it didn't work. 1 second. Next thing he's like making out with her, and she's like, get off me. It was like a fun element. I thought for some reason it was the whole movie, but now that I'm remembering more,
No,
of
it still works though.
it worked. It was fun. Like that 1 second's like, a lot can happen in 1 second.
A lot could happen.
Yeah, there was another movie that had that, which was Galaxy Quest. They're like, how much can you do in 13 seconds or 12 seconds? Something. And he changes things. That was a good one. Do you have any more?
No, I don't have more.
It's from a comic book. Lock and Key. There isn't a time travel aspect of it, but there is a key that gives him the ability to go back in time to observe. You can't fuck up time.
Right.
So in Lock and Key, there's this crazy dude.
So then
The
you can prove.
The show's gonna be good. So what happens is there's something crazy that happens where the bad guy's about to do something, and the book ends, and I'm like, okay, fuck, I gotta find out what happens in the next book. In the past, what the fuck? I was like, dude, what the fuck just happened? They just ended it at a cliff note where the bad guy's about to do something, and it's in the past, and they have this key where they can go back in time and observe. They can only observe, so it's the most realistic
pretty
way.
cool.
You can't change time. You could always.
So does it turn out that you're observing what he was about to do, or
No, you're looking into his past to like maybe learn something.
Yeah, learn about the enemy.
so him doing what he was about to do was him looking into the past?
No,
No,
just
someone
went to-
else was doing the attack,
Yeah.
and then they were able to use this key.
I think I'm
Someone
mixing
else?
it up. I'm mixing it up. So they
Just
went back.
Read the comics.
They went back in time, but they're just telling a story. But it just ended it like that. But there is a key that makes them go back in time to look at what happened and explain why how the bad guy came out.
So then we can see like what certain people, when there's these allegations towards them, we can see what really happened.
Or you can always be stuck in Neverland.
I got one I want to mention that doesn't get enough props. Jean-Claude Van Damme once taught us there is never enough time.
Yes, I know.
As time cop.
That movie has the best intro, where it's like in the 80s, it's like, I need all your gold. And the guy's like, what? 20th century guns with lasers. that intro's sick, dude.
Dude, there's Bruce Lee, the one. I mean, there's
Jet
different,
Li?
different timelines.
Well, that's like
that's not
parallel.
time.
Parallel.
Yeah.
It's
universe.
parallel time, and he's going in there to kill every single one.
I would
'cause
say
then
that's
they
more
get stronger.
space, not time, because it doesn't mess with
but
the.
space and time
Hey,
are
Twilight
one.
Zone.
Okay.
There's a Twilight Zone episode where a guy has a stopwatch and he could freeze time, and then the stopwatch breaks. He's like, "Oh shit, it's stuck in time forever."
It's just like click.
But
And
Time
there was
Cop,
there was
yes.
one other one. Time Cop. No, I was thinking of a game that we haven't mentioned that I feel like Prince of Persia.
Oh,
Oh.
I thought you were gonna say God of War. One of the God of Wars deals with
Yeah,
touch.
but like Prince of Persia, it's like
They did such a good job, like in
With-
Prince of Persia.
the games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that was such a good like. There's like a limit. Obviously.
I remember
Like, what
playing
can
that
you
on
do
my
with-
fucking
what can you do with 12
Motorola flip
seconds?
phone.
A lot.
Max Payne.
Hey, there you go. That also slows down time, dude. That was oh my gosh, dude.
I remember that's how I would
Ahead of
benchmark
its
my
time.
computer.
You can put how good his face looked.
It was just a flat face.
I can see his teeth. This computer's better.
Bad movie adaptation, depending on who you ask. But yeah, that's all I got too.
Yeah.
Any other honorable mentions?
No.
Shout outs?
That's gonna be it for that one. It's a good
Cool.
one.
Next topic, you or me? I'll go. So my topic lately, I've been playing a lot of like games as a service games, like the like WoW, like Anthem, Division. They're a lot. Anthem's been out, Division's about to come out, but like I thought I was done playing Destiny because of certain milestones I was trying to achieve. But now they've released a new season, and I'm like,
Here's an
I'm really
extension
into
to
this,
this milestone.
and I'm like, I want to work on this now. And I'm like, fuck. Like, on one hand, I'm excited. On the other hand, I'm like, man, this feels like work. And so I was thinking about it, and I read an article from a German journalist discussing like how a lot of times we've done things where we gamify work or our lives to like make them more appealing to try and take care of like errands or
Make it easier enough.
make things like that we don't look forward to doing them like
Easier to swallow.
yeah, like working out your chores or whatever goals you're working towards. Be like, let's gamify it. It'll make it easier to break down. But I feel like games are going the other way, where they're making a lot of games feel more like work. Where you're like, I gotta log in, I gotta do this. This is a limited time thing. I gotta do this, and it's like, do you guys feel that in any sense as like a growing trend of like how games are? If so, why? If so, if not, why not? Maybe it's like certain genres or.
I don't know if it's. I feel for me it's something more recent because I feel like have less time. I'm starting to have less time for games.
Okay.
So like I have to start, or I feel like I have to start choosing certain activities that'll benefit me the most when I have more time to play. So like, let's put it in perspective with the World of Warcraft. There's so much I can do. I can do a raid, I can do dungeons, I can do these things, but they have what's called dailies as well. And the dailies, essentially, when you keep doing them, you're getting experience points for other things too, like experience towards faction favorite, like being like a favorite of that faction. And then if you get to a certain point, they give you free gifts.
Okay.
So like, not only am I receiving a gift for doing the daily, if I do enough of it, I'll get a gift at the end. Like if I get 10,000 faction reputation for this one person, they'll like, hey, here's a treasure chest, from our faction, so you'll have something related to us in it. And I just finished one tonight, like today in the morning.
Okay.
So those are things like I'll log in
But
right after work.
what I'm saying is like when we think of games, we think of having fun. Do you find that fun?
No, I don't. Like, it's something like I'm trying to get away from playing World of Warcraft again, but like I just feel like if I do these, it's both like I spend less time with the game, but I also have like that feeling of like at least I'm working towards something in the future in case I want to go back to it. And like, but like I just like there's no in between. Like I can't stop fully.
The tech support guy, we're losing him. We're losing.
Yeah,
Bring him back in.
And so it's a chore now. Like when like if I choose to like want to play, like if I see you online, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to play with him. But then I'll be like, oh, but I gotta do these dailies real quick. And then like I finish them, but it's like, that's a little late. I kind of want to do other things now. And then it ends up like it is like it feels like a chore to me.
Okay.
And I just can't get away from it.
I know. What about you, Jang? Do you ever feel?
Yeah, man, like 100%ing trophies, dude.
What
Like,
compels you to do that?
just to get the trophy? Like the reason
The
why? Okay,
achievement.
well, I don't feel like playing Devil May Cry 5. I bought it.
You don't feel like playing?
I don't feel like I feel like playing Apex right now.
Oh,
but
okay. I thought it was because of GameStop.
oh no. But part of the reason is like I want to 100% to trophy platinums, and Devil May Cries are not easy games to platinum. They're one of the hardest games.
Really?
It's a 10 out of 10 to platinum, and I just
10 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. Okay.
and I just don't want to do it.
For me, it was Devil May Cry 3. They had I don't know if they all have it. A
They all
difficulty
have
where
it. One hit,
kill.
you're dead.
And you're inside this monster where it has like acid on the ground. I couldn't
Ass on the ground?
ass. Sid.
Oh.
I was gonna say ass, and I'm like, no, wait, that's not what I was saying. On the ground, and so there's a section where there's like 2 pools where you can't jump over both of them. You have to jump right in the middle, but it's such a small, and I could never jump in the middle of the 2. I would jump, then walk forward and touch it and die. Jump, like I'd roll around, touch it and die. And I was like, I spent hours trying to jump into this middle of this pool, and I was like, you know what? F this trophy. Never did it on that difficulty.
So like in order to reach these achievements, you kind of feel like you're sacrificing some fun.
Yes.
Do you feel like yourself not being like, I won't even approach something because of that? Like what you mentioned with Devil May Cry, you're like, I'll put this off because I want to play it.
I probably won't platinum it just because I don't. I looked at it. I'll always look at like trophy guides and I'll be like, okay, what's the hardest thing? And what's funny is that's not the hardest. That thing you did is not the hardest thing. It's they always have a trophy where you have to play the one lower difficulty, S level it. Fuck that. You know how hard it is to get an S level, and especially in a hard difficulty. Yeah. So I'll look at the trophies ahead of time and be like, that's doable. But then I'm doing a blood level 4 run, which is like Bloodborne. There's no trophy behind that, and it's fucking hard. Like it stresses me out. That is like.
So why do you want to keep doing these?
Because to be with the one bro, I want that rank. Like I did Bloodborne, one SL1 run.
And you have this philosophy for all games. Like you want to be like, I want to have that.
Well, it depends. I had to look into it and it's like, damn, is it worth it?
Okay.
To be a one bro, it is worth it. It's only a high elite class of players.
And that goes for like games without trophies too, right? Mm-hmm. Like for like Nintendo games. Or do you ever do like 3 heart Zelda runs or
no?
So what?
Because like Bloodborne is considered a really difficult game, and that's
well, I mean,
something
like you either go for difficulty or going for completion, and it seems more on a PlayStation side, not so much like you don't have that with Nintendo games as I've noticed as much.
Because Nintendo games aren't as difficult as Bloodborne or Dark Souls. Dark Souls and Bloodborne, they're on like a platform of like these are difficult games. You're gonna die a lot.
Well, have you done like Master Sword mode in like Breath of the Wild? Or?
I haven't, but I feel like the status of that isn't as good as the status of a one bro. You're a one bro. Like, if I say, I'm a Zelda 3 heart guy, people are like, Like,
just a quick question. Do you feel like all future titles for any Bloodborne type games should have a type of like
for trophy like that?
Low level, like level 1 trophy?
I don't think so.
I feel like it should to be able to have that title, like
because the community does that.
Yeah, but maybe it just shouldn't count towards like a platinum.
So then, when you're working towards these, are you having fun, or do you feel like when you've done it, you feel rewarded?
Dude, it's the most rewarding thing when you fucking beat.
Okay, so there is a satisfaction at some point of it.
Oh my god, dude, it's like crazy, dude. Like the rush is just like I can't believe I did that.
Well, one of the things to bring about to like that workification, as I'm calling it, I feel like streaming kind of leans into that, where you're like, I'm playing games because I want to be a streamer, and either as an occupation or as a hobby. But as a streamer, you have to have a schedule. You have to do certain hours. You have to put in enough time on certain games, maybe. Like I've noticed some of that with what you've done and with other streamers too, where it's like every Monday I gotta make sure I put in this game, or I gotta be whatever. Does that ever like make you feel like it's too much like work? Or
well, now if I don't feel like doing it, I just don't do it. Before I would force myself, but now I'm just like fuck it.
What about when you're watching people? Do you feel like it's like a job?
I do. Like some certain streamers, big streamers, when I see them, like. I could tell
they're on just to be on, but
I could tell, especially if they're not playing a game that I know that they should be playing. I could tell, this is paid, sponsored, and they're not feeling it. Soda Poppin is very transparent like that. It's like, I'm done with this game, guys. It's like, I'm going to. It's like,
well, I'm wondering if that's going to be like a growing trend, because it's become very like appealing to young crowds and to everyone, where it's like, I want to be a streamer. and it's like making people want to play games in that fashion and in that like habit or flow.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's going to become like the habit of like, I got to play these games at a certain time, or I got to put in my dailies, or I got, like those things like worry me, because right now, like I'm enjoying Destiny, but at the same, it's like a comfort food where I'm like, I kind of just want to chill, put something on and just run through like my dailies. But it's like, I could be more actively stimulated by a captivating story of a game, or a more engaging game mechanic, like an Enter the Breach or a Hollow Knight, or whatever. But like at the end of the day, like I'm like, is it a big deal? Because whatever I'm doing, it's my free time.
Yeah.
It's just more. Well, another thing, it's like aside from what you're saying, where it's like I'm accomplishing something. It's a tier. I think of like when I'm doing these games where they're grindy or whatever. Like Pokemon Go has that element with like I need to grind out XP or Stardust or whatever. It's like finding the most efficient way to do it becomes the game.
Yeah.
Not so much the things you're rewarding. Like I'm getting hundreds of legendary items. I don't give a fuck. But like learning the best way to manage my time to get as much of that in a short amount of time becomes like the new game. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's some merit there, because it's like, okay, it's a puzzle of time management than it is like an actual whatever the game is. It could be anything. But I don't know. Just I wanted to have like a little observation with you guys about it.
Yeah, I've had like I play that mobile game.
Yeah.
The one I've spent quite a bit of money on. That's starting to be like work, because like every day there's a specific time. It's specifically 4:00.
Okay.
When like everything resets, you get like daily bonuses. So at that time, these bonuses come back. There's certain like you're in like a guild, and there's like certain monsters that the whole guild has to work towards to kill them. And so at least within the guild I'm like ranked 1 with like the damage I do towards that, like like the level wise that I am. And I feel like obviously to stay there I have to continuously log on every day. So like yesterday, like I went to a convention, and like I literally go park, and I was like, oh, I gotta do this real quick, and I'm in the parking lot, and I'm over here just like finishing up this. So they give me 10 minutes, it's a job. I'm like, I've spent money. I can't just drop
a job
this.
where you had to pay to work.
I spent money. I can't just waste this.
Yeah. It's crazy. And like a lot of these new like Anthem's out, Division's coming out, other games are trying to become games as a service. I'm like, I'm making a conscious decision where I'm like, I can't put the same commitment as I do with Destiny on those, because it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Like it's just too much. And then I know at that point I'm just going to break on all. I'm like, I can't play these.
I think what I've realized is there's a point where I get tired of like the end game content, like the amount, because there's just so much. Like obviously they can change up the way you do the end game content, but ultimately it's about getting that gear.
Yeah.
And once I've been there, once I've gotten that gear before, it slowly diminishes the care for, at least for me, for getting the newer gear. Like with Destiny, it was. What was the level? What was the max level before?
650?
No, but before that.
600? The level or the light level?
No, the light level. Wasn't there a 300?
A long time ago.
Yeah, so 300. And I reached that. I was like, perfect. I was at the pinnacle for like a while.
Yeah.
And then this new one expansion came out, and that was kind of my goal, was to get the max level. I got to 650 or 600 that was like. I was already dying there at that point. Like I was just like, I've already lost it. And right now it's like higher, and I can't.
Well, like I've disassociated myself with like that grind.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is not a target for me, because I'll eventually get there. If I try to go for that now, it's going to be very unenjoyable. But I know other things that I like doing that'll also, like, I try to like get as many things to be going in the same direction. I'm like, as long as I'm doing this and this, which I want to do, I'll work towards goals, but it's getting me towards that other goal.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking about it as much. Same with like Pokemon Go. There's like 8 events going on at once. I'm like, I can only care about like maybe 1 or 2 of these. Like,
I
can't
handpick the ones you need to do.
I can't, like, there's like 900 shinies available now. And before, when like 1 or 2 shinies were like higher frequency, you would start like manually checking each one. Sometimes I'll like quick catch them or put them aside or like go plus them. But when I'm manually checking, I'm like, oh, I don't want that one. It's more the time I spend checking and getting away than catching, waiting for it to catch, moving on. Now everything's like, you have to check everything. I'm like, it's not worth. I'm only going to look for like the one I care about or something. I don't know. So, yeah. That's all my. Jang, your topic?
Oh, so South by Southwest recently showcased Us, and people are saying that it is a good metaphor for something. So, what are 3 examples in fiction that you have seen really good metaphors for?
Princess Mononoke.
Ah.
I really enjoyed the way it blended a story that was is very self-contained, very, very memorable story, good story. But it had elements of it where you can be like, this is reflective of like industrialization and how it showcased that, like military and how industrial like armaments of guns and stuff are ruining the world of how pure and peaceful the nature was and the natural order of things. Like I like that element. And also in like a similar vein, what's the Spirited Away had a moment where it's like you see the parents and like they slowly are eating food and like they turn into pigs. And I'm like,
Gluttonous.
yeah, I'd say that. But primarily, I mean Miyazaki as a whole, but like Princess Mononoke at the biggest.
I mean, in that case, is the fireflies and stuff. No.
That's all you, bro.
No, I don't have.
What do you
one
got?
with you. If Jang wants to go.
Mine's in the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
Ooh.
Can you guess? It's a character.
Voldemort?
No. I mean, you could there's probably so many. Mine's Remus Lupin, werewolf, lycanthropy. That is a metaphor for HIV and AIDS, where people who have HIV and AIDS, like, so he has a disease, he turns into a werewolf. People who have HIV and AIDS are discriminated against.
There's a history of that.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's a good
Remus
okay.
Lupin and the metaphor for HIV and AIDS.
Okay. A more recent one for me was something. What's the fucking title? Sorry to Bother You. That's what it was.
Oh,
Sorry
yeah.
to Bother You. The way it there was several moments where it's just talking about how middle class and upper class are treated, and like they show that there's this like place where you don't have to worry about income anymore. You don't have to worry about you live at your job, and we provide you accommodations and we provide you uniforms, and like you're realizing as the way it's being described is one thing, but when you're watching the commercial pitch, it's like you're selling a prison. You're making slavery like advertised and appealing, and like that metaphor of like how lower classes like it's like the new form of a slavery in a sense where it's like the upper class take advantage of you by making you work lifelong debts off. And like,
it's like Fight Club. The things you own end up owning you.
yeah.
So like the thing is, I haven't looked into these things to know if this is like a legitimate metaphor, but one that I feel has a certain metaphor is like the Truman Show with social media and how everyone kind of gets just involved in this, and there's just one guy who's just like kind of like put this away. But it turns out it's like all on him. It's all been on him this whole time. I thought that was really cool, and I've always enjoyed that movie.
I could totally see them remaking that movie now, but it's on Twitch.
Dude,
Oh my god.
that's how Twitch got huge. Is just
It is. It's like a one
it
channel
was
of Twitch.
one dude who was
Yeah.
like, "This is my life, guys," and you see everything he did.
What happened to Justin? Shit.
He's
Oh
now
Jesus, streamer.
My brother used to tell me, he's like, I'm watching Justin TV. I'm like, what is that? He's like, okay, that's weird. Whatever. I'm gonna go play games. And he's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, that is a good film and a good it had messages.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Stan Lee. X-Men.
Oh,
Metaphor to civil rights movement. Professor X is Martin Luther King and Magneto's Malcolm X, and they both have similar views on how to deal with mutant kind / rights, civil rights. So.
it's lasted, and I think it's grown even just to anyone that feels like they're outcasted in a sense. But like, I think that timing of when it came out definitely attributed to that. It's so crazy to see like those characters stand such the test of time. It's crazy. I don't know. I think Star Wars is a pretty. I mean, it's a classic one. It's not like the most profound, but I love the idea of like this industrial imperial like organization and like these like
renegades.
Yeah, just
You know what trips me out? Did you see the fucking viral video of a former U.S. intelligence officer talking about like terrorists? He was saying like, I don't understand the Western civilization. Like, in our eyes, you guys are Star Wars, the Imperial Force, and we are the renegades. I was like, oh my god, that shit fucking hit me. I was like, holy shit.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like it's a country that was founded on freedom, but they took over a land from someone else. It's like, so ironic.
We're in like empire, not knowing. What's funny too is I've always seen as like the rebels. Like you've always seen like that. They're the ones trying to like get up, in the world, trying to like get the empire to like stop doing what they're doing, start trying to take over everything.
Yeah.
So I've always seen like I'm a rebel. I'm someone like that's trying to like fight the man,
Fight the
essentially.
system. Yeah.
Fight the system. And when we went to a book signing, we went to the one for I believe it was the the movie that just came out. Why can't I remember the name?
What movie?
The video game, virtual reality.
Oh, Ready Player One.
Wow, dude. Anyways, we were in line, and there's an old like I didn't realize I had.
Oh, you're talking. It wasn't Ready Player One. It was Andy Weir.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. It was Andy Weir. And I had a Star Wars shirt on, and the guy's like, are you
Empire,
are you Empire or Rebel? And I'm like, I'm Rebel, and he kind of was like, you're scum or whatever. But like it kind of like talking to him, I realized like, dude, there's some people that just want like order in the world. Like they don't like obviously
they don't look at it as villainous.
They're
and evil.
looking
They're
at like
structure.
There's order, there's structure, and I was like, dude, there's like differences in this, like where you're like you want to take some things from one, some things from the other, and I don't know, it just opened my mind a little bit from that point on. So that was cool.
Do you have any more?
Oh yeah, Avatar.
Wait,
the movie or the
movie, the one where the blue aliens.
Oh,
okay.
I took it as a metaphor for like like Native Americans, kind of like what we did here, where we took over someone's land, specifically for resources, and
unobtainium.
All they did was all they could do was fight and try to stop people from taking their land just for that they could do this stuff and destroy this planet.
Also, shout out to Fern Gully.
There you go.
Tim Curry. Similar.
The trees. The trees.
The last one. My favorite book of all time. The Great Gatsby.
That's your favorite book of all time?
Yeah. It should be Fahrenheit 451 because I've read that the most.
Okay.
But The Great Gatsby.
I never knew that was your favorite.
So because that's a metaphor for the American dream is broken and it can no longer be achieved. But
it can be.
It can be great, but you just got to do it in devious ways, like Gatsby did. Now, good old chap. But I don't think the American dream is broken. I don't agree with it, but I feel like it's a cool ass metaphor. Like,
I think the way I took it is like there's people that are broken. There's people that can see it this way only, or like it has to be certain ways to grab it. But there's people that are open minded and they don't take advantage of their positions. They don't try to go straight towards that event to that goal. They go around and do the long way, and which is the nicer way, not stepping over people.
I just hate it when people say, "Oh, I love that love story." It's like the worst love. All those characters are horrible.
They're
man.
horrible people.
They're fucking bad. Except the narrator.
Maybe your perspective on it will bring some new light to it because I hate that story because of the love in the character. I'm like, you're all shitty.
Yeah, the characters are so bad. But I feel bad for Gatsby. That's the thing. I feel very empathetic for him.
Yeah, I mean, I can see merits to it, but like, I was always like, why are people like fawning over certain characters? And in classes, they would be like,
horrible.
He's such a good person. I'm like, fuck off.
They're
what
like,
are you talking about?
I'm gonna get so much shit for their people in LA, dude. No, I was kidding. they remind me of like certain stuck up people in LA, dude. It's like, fuck, dude.
I think my last one is probably my favorite one, The Matrix. It shares a lot of similar plot points as The Invisibles, a Grant Morrison book. But I love the way, again, like Sorry to Bother You, it kind of like has metaphors for like the mindless machinery of the office work environment and like waking up and like realizing you're just part of this machine and like, do you want to spend the rest of your life just being numb and just another like cog, or do you want to like wake up?
You want to take the red pill.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, like the way they did it, the way the philosophy of it, just.
Yeah, and that's like the whole beginning too. Like that's the idea. It's like Morpheus explaining it to him, like.
And the agents, they're these agents of the they're little agents of the corporate culture, and yeah, HR is ready to speak with you, and like beginning to like see the code. Like I just love all of that. Like it's sort of this like pulp tech or neo tech pulp.
Did you see the YouTube video where Will Smith?
Yeah.
It would have been a different movie.
I don't think it would have worked.
Wait, there's video of like
his vlog is, and he was one of the episodes like I turned down playing Neo,
okay.
and like he talked about the movie pitch, and he was like the way they pitched it to me wasn't exactly appealing because they were just like it's this weird thing.
There's this camera set up. We take pictures of you. You just stand still, and it looks like you're floating.
Like he's selling it like, or he's telling us that the way it was pitched to him was very dull and like.
Hey, but
out there.
If he took that role, we wouldn't have gotten that song. Wiki wiki wow wiki.
The Wild Wild West.
Which is also, have you heard the Kevin Smith story of the Wild Wild West?
Yeah. Yes.
They wanted to do
Fuck that producer, dude. He has the rights to Sandman right now, and he wants to put a spider in it. Fucking A, dude.
So this producer was attached to a Tim Burton, Nick Cage Superman movie, and he wanted the movie to be very weird, and he got involved. He's like, I want Superman to fight this like spider thing, and like the movie ended up not happening. Obviously, Nick Cage. So then he ended up becoming the one of the producers for Wild Wild West, and he's like, sure as shit. He's like, you like that scene with the spider in it, and it was him. Kevin Smith, like long-winded story, but it was funny.
It's funny.
So he's a huge fan of spiders.
It was determined to get a spider fight in a movie.
According to the Sandman thing, he's got a spider.
I urge people to go look up Kevin Smith.
It's funny.
Spider story or something. It's so funny. I hate this producer for that. The Matrix. I love like all the symbolism and stuff in it. And Invisibles is an extension of that. Like when I was reading that, I was like, this is very much like.
Did you think they copied? Because I know he's sued.
100%. Like,
I know the building scene. I was like, damn, that's
okay. In terms of like action set pieces, not as much, but the idea of like this like guy guiding you through this like thing of like, let me show you the real world, and like you are, and then the agents, like those key elements were very much from Invisibles, and like. Grant Morrison, genius.
He needs his
Which
money.
house
He needs his
geniuses.
money. He needs his money.
The guy's a legend. What's Sandlot's quote? Heroes come and go, legends never die. I love that quote.
Apex Legends.
They should have a Sandlot Apex Legends tie-in. You wear like these cosmetic boots, the Converse. All right, guys, that's it for our topics. What'd you guys do this week?
I went to a tattoo convention called Muse Inc. On Saturday.
And who was headlining?
I don't know if they were headlining, but Limp Bizkit was one of the.
Limp Bizkit's rocking
was one of the performers, and when I got there, they had either just finished or had just like were about to go on stage, but I never went on stage.
I told them in the car, people are embarrassed to say they like Limp Bizkit, even though they listen to Limp Bizkit. I'm not ashamed to say I fucking loved Limp Bizkit. I have 2 of their albums.
Public right now.
Well, who's afraid of saying they like?
People never admit. They'll say Linkin Park. You're like, oh yeah, Linkin Park. Yeah, I like Linkin Park. But when you say Limp Bizkit, they're like,
Did Limp Bizkit played at WrestleMania one year?
Yeah.
So
and they gave them the nookie.
they did some pretty.
Just one of those.
I think it was WrestleMania 17. I'm gonna look that up.
But being at the convention, I realized like I'm a huge I want to get things from around the world, and so it felt like it might have been one of my only opportunities to get like a tattoo from someone from Japan, and like as I was thinking, I'm like, dude, this is such a dumb thing, like getting a permanent thing just because this person's from one specific area. I was like, I'm just gonna wait until, because I don't want to just get a random tattoo.
Just Monster Hunter tattoo from Monster Hunter. He starts tattooing with his nipples.
No, but like obviously every artist has different styles, and not every individual from Japan's gonna like certain things.
That's true.
These guys had like just like old school traditional tattoo looking one, Japanese tattoo styles. And at least mentally, I wasn't ready to get something like that. I wasn't like, I didn't want to just like randomly be like, yeah, here's, $150.
Something.
Yeah, pick up, like, give me a small one or whatever. I was just like, that's just dumb. I was like, I'm not going to get a tattoo. But there were other artists there. I never looked into who was going. Had I had more time, I probably would have ended up getting another tattoo. But I just walked in, waltzed right in after paying $75 holy fucking dollars.
Damn.
Without even watching any of the music.
Damn.
You just get rolled and rolled.
That's
and
one of
rolled
the
and rolled and
most
rolled.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's one of the most expensive conventions, like 75 a day.
Yeah, dude.
Really?
Well, because it's a
That's
mix
more
of,
than Comic Con.
More than WonderCon.
Yeah.
It's like double almost.
It depends on if it's Sunday, it's triple.
But what if what if we're talking about concerts? Because I would
Concerts, I don't know. My brother goes to somewhere. I'm like, you spent how much?
Yeah. See,
So I
this
think
was
it's
like-
cheap
yeah.
for a
Yeah.
concert. They just threw in a con.
Yeah, and I
Is it
just
part of it?
and I just happened to only go to the con and not the concert. I did that, and then I finished my PC. Building like completely fine. Like it's done, ready to go, locking it all up, and I'm setting it up on my desk. It took a while. It took a few days. I originally was just like, I need a new CPU. So I bought a new CPU,
Oh, okay.
an i7, and then I bought a motherboard because the one I had didn't work for this specific generation of CPU. So I was like, done. But I was like, dude, I might as well upgrade my RAM. I might as well just like, because I don't know
begins.
how this other one's gonna work.
Wild tech support's like, we got him back, boys.
Food cartoons.
I was just like, I don't know how my RAM's gonna work for this new motherboard. I was like, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to just like fry something because of incompatibility. So I was like, perfect. I got that, and I was like, I might as well just get like. Because the motherboard had an ability to carry what's called M.2.
doubles.
I know,
Might-
they're both not
might as well.
helping. He's right. You might.
They're
as
both
well.
just sitting at a computer. They're like, you should add this in there too.
I'm looking at PC Parts Builder.
So they have a capability to carry M.2, which is like kind of like a laptop form of SSD. But there's like, I don't know if all of them have it. I know Samsung's done like a much quicker readable version of it. So I bought that. I bought a 500 gig. So I installed that. I installed the new RAM. I had the CPU, motherboard, everything like that. It's done. And I put my old hard drives back. And I'm not very, very used to how computers work. It doesn't boot my old SSD. Like it doesn't. It doesn't like. It's not compatible with like the new stuff because it's thinking like I'm ripping someone off and stealing this or whatever. So it doesn't load. I have to reinstall everything. That means like everything I've had I have to lose or whatever. So I had already backed it up.
Okay.
I just was hoping I didn't have to do this,
Yeah.
but I had to do it anyway. So
Okay. How's it running?
it's running good, running really well. Played Destiny, don't have any of the issues I've had before. I had like
Nice.
huge loading issues, all this stuff. And with loading, it's just, it never hit me. It's like in my computer. I was like, it's internet issues. It's like, I'm not having enough speed.
Well, if you feel like you're falling behind on Destiny, they have these new bounties that are power boosters. They bring you up to light level if you decide to come back.
So I did that,
Okay.
and then I planned on watching Captain Marvel, but I just didn't have enough time this weekend, so I'll probably watch it after this podcast tonight.
Ooh. Jang, what have you been up to?
I played Hotline Harambe, Ape Out. I beat it, dude.
You beat it?
The last two levels are giving me fucking a hard time, dude.
I
don't
thought you
know.
were about to say a hard.
Ooh. Yeah, and then like the people. So for some strange reason, when I was playing the last level, a lot of people on Twitch stopped by, like 40, and they were like giving me tips and like they're saying slow it down. Like, but I was like, nah, dude, because I think the game is like intended for you to like keep the music,
Yeah.
so you're supposed to boom 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 boom.
It's like Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that music, I love it. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I've seen his videos. of
okay,
it,
okay.
Yeah,
The
it's fun.
music's so good. So you beat it?
I
Worth it?
beat it on normal. I'm starting on hard. I beat the first level on hard. I don't
Dude,
want to
I
play.
know if those last two levels gave you a tough time on
I can
easy,
tell. Yeah, the last two levels on hard are gonna be.
But you get to
fucking-
keep all your upgrades?
You don't get any upgrades.
It's like a whole
there's
new game.
nothing. Yeah, it's just more enemies, dude.
Just
It's
shoulder
like,
buttons. One's
Yeah.
hold, one's grab or throw.
push. Yeah, and then
and then the beat.
yeah,
That beat. It's so
Dude,
good. So
yeah, it's cool. The only gripe is it's such a very short game.
Yeah, the indie game.
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours.
I think it's
easy and then hard.
From what I understand, it's 3 developers,
Mm.
and one of them worked on something. I forgot what it was. I'll have to look it up. But Yeah, 3 people. So I think this is cool that they did one, and then like maybe it gets enough steam to keep going because a lot of people have been loving it.
I feel like with that delivery, like something small, Breath of the Wild, I think, or something.
Something like that, like Breath of the Wild or The Witcher.
I know they did jazz. I kind of hope they do more different types of genres. It'd be kind of cool. Like, I don't know.
Sort of like Beat Saber style music, like Daft Punk,
Electronic, hip hop.
I need to set up my VR so I can start playing Saber. I've never played
VR Ape Out.
Oh shit! It's a guy with a shotgun. It feels nice though. Like especially when you pick up a guy that has a machine gun and the screen shakes. Like, meat shield. Apex.
Oh, this is what it was. Bennett Foddy is one of the game designers. He made Quap.
Oh
That's
wow!
fine.
That's such a different game than Quap.
Yeah, Bennett Foddy, Gabe Kuzilo, and
Wait,
Matt-
Bennett Foddy is the guy who does the climbing game,
Yeah, I think
the
so
rock
too.
climbing, where
I
you're
think so,
in
too.
like a
Gird?
pot.
Getting
No.
it up or something.
GIRP. Yeah,
No.
it is
Grip.
this one.
He's done all those.
Oh, getting it
Yeah.
over.
Getting it over.
Okay, that
Get
one.
Get over it or whatever. Getting it over. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dang, he's done those fucked up games.
Yeah.
Then.
Those are-
Quap
those
and
are the
Grip
only-
is a similar one where like you have
Rock
to figure out where
climbing.
your hands are to.
Those are the only
grab
3
on.
games he's done before this.
Holy
That's
shit,
cool.
man. He's done fucked up games.
I don't know what.
He's done rage-inducing games.
But I mean, they're like so different. No, but Ape Out is not raging. It
No,
feels
not
good.
No.
that one,
Yeah,
but
feels
his
good.
other
The other
3
ones
are
are-
all like literally rage-inducing.
But they're like you want to keep trying, and I think
Yeah.
this has that element.
Yeah.
Like I was showing 2 of my friends. I went over, brought my Switch, and I was like, "Let me show you this game." And the music starts playing. They're like, well, okay, that looks okay. I hand the controller to them. I'm like, "It's easy. Throw, push." And they start playing, and they die. And they're like, oh, "Okay." And then I play. I get it further, and like, "Oh," and I give it back to them. They get further. I'm like, "You're doing it. Go the other way." And like it started becoming. And then one of my friends is like, "I just want to watch you guys. Like, get further. Come on, get." And we were trying to do one level, but
It's hard because when you see an enemy, you have to make a decision. Okay, wait,
Right then.
what can I do? Because there's certain enemies, if you use them as a meat shield, they're bomb.
Yeah.
If someone shoots you, you're fucked. You're fucked. So you have to like, at that moment, you have to make a decision. Okay,
Like
I gotta
throw?
get for this guy, dude.
Yeah.
Not throw it at him. Do that.
Yeah.
Do that. Like,
Yeah.
you had to. Be
I
quick.
accidentally grabbed a bomb guy and I was gonna throw him, but it chipped a wall right next to me
that
and it
happens.
blew me up.
It happens a lot, dude. That happens a
Yeah.
lot.
So it's
And
a fun game.
the flamethrower guys are annoying. Like if you
I
ever
haven't got that far. I just finished chapter 2 or level 2 of chapter 1. I don't know. What else have you been up to?
picked up Devil May
You did?
Cry for
Were you actually able to pick it up?
What happened? I needed to hear because you said you hated
He
them after
didn't
this.
buy
but-
it. He didn't buy it digital. Is what he
Okay.
did.
yeah, exactly. So many months before, when that game first came out, I pre-ordered it in full, and I said, I want the deluxe edition because that comes with the Mega Man Buster.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I always pay in full. I didn't pay attention to the receipt, which I should have done. When I came to pick it up many months later, I was like, wait. And he gave me the standard copy. I was like, I think I ordered the deluxe. And I looked at the receipt. He charged me for the original one, standard. So I was like, I should have checked. I should have checked.
So this is you. This is months before you bought it.
Yeah.
and you thought it was a luxury
Yeah.
before you bought only the center.
Should have checked the receipt. And I was like, just return it. And bought it digitally because
The
it
deluxe.
came, digital deluxe edition.
Wait, so it's not.
He doesn't get the Buster.
No, I
Wait,
did
it's
get it.
in game.
It's in game.
I thought it was a prop.
Yeah, that's when you
Yeah.
said that's what I thought too.
Okay.
Prop.
But
Got the digital.
I'll still order from GameStop. But fuck, dude, I gotta pay attention. It's their fault though. Fucking shit, dude.
It's that dude. He's probably brand new and he's like a deluxe standard.
With Xbox ones, man, like imagine, that happens, and I bought.
Deluxe Xbox version.
I pre-ordered Sekiro. Oh god, dude.
That's coming sooner than I thought.
It's 22nd
Yeah.
Of
So
this
I'm-
month or
this
next?
this month.
Fuck.
I'm actually like, I don't know what game to stream next. I'm playing Apex.
I don't think I'm gonna pick up Devil May Cry yet. I'll pick it up later. I think
Sekiro?
Sekiro is gonna
Have you
be-
guys played the past Devil May Cry's?
Only
Yes.
the first one.
Yes, I played a handful. I don't know which ones.
You don't. So I've never played any Devil May Cry. I know what the gameplay looks like and stuff. Do you think I could go into 5?
Yes,
Yes.
dude. It feels Game-wise,
Story is not the strongest thing.
dude. It
Okay.
feels like
That was my main concern.
it
Just
feels
watch
like
video.
God of War, man. Like it's just so hectic. Like
It's like
you're just-
Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of Bayonetta
combos and
and
stuff.
like Platinum and that stuff. Okay.
So I'm waiting for Sekiro. I'm streaming Apex. I'm kind of done with Apex. I want to
Take a
stream.
break.
Yeah, I want to stream something else. I want to play once a week, but I want to stream something else.
That's what he said last time.
You're like, I'm done.
It's got me.
Let's stay up till 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
The food. Oh, it's fun playing with friends.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
I mean, like if they say you want to play, I'll be like, yeah, I'm down. Fuck this game. Don't want to do Bloodborne because it's stressing me out. I'm at this boss that is considered the hardest.
So
Which
you're,
one?
So
Abretus?
Can I safely assume you're gonna just not do the DLC as the?
I'm gonna attempt it.
Okay. Just in a
Please
long
come back to Bloodborne. He'll go back to it at some point.
I'm gonna attempt it, dude.
Okay.
Fuck.
cause, dude.
I'm not worried about cause. That's the funny thing. It's Ludwig and Lawrence, man. Those guys are fucking.
Is that a dual boss that you have to fight?
No, it's a single.
Okay.
I went to an event yesterday. It was okay.
Oh yeah,
What's
how'd that
that?
go?
So,
What was it?
it was like a Twitch
Oh.
LA with a charity group, Extra Life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. I think I'm gonna donate to them. It wasn't like I don't want to shit on them, but like people I network with over there, like I feel like they're not serious about it, and there's only a few that are serious about it, but they
Serious
weren't
in what way? Like it's a hobby to them, or it's a
like they want to like the work ethic they put it in.
Okay.
Like there's only a few handful of people that actually do it, and I feel like mostly people are there, not shitting on them, but they're just there to socialize and like
Sure.
networking with. Well, Vargas is saying network with the small people. You never know if they're gonna grow big, but you could kind of tell like if they're gonna work hard at it or not, and
Okay.
so. It was. I would never go again. It was weird, dude.
It was. I'd never go again.
No.
It's just the way you say it.
No,
It's
no,
like,
I'm-
it was like you're kind of saying it's
never
all right, but I'll never go. Again.
I mean, I'll go to a Twitch LA event. I probably won't go to a
Extra
Extra
Life.
Life event. It was weird because
I don't know.
they didn't let you use your phone. Like they didn't want you to take pictures in there because I think it's because that's like a hospital where even stars kids go to. So they were very. I still took pictures. I was like HBO Cafe. Oh, this is cool, dude. It's like. But yeah, they're very strict. They're like, you
I
cannot.
think, yeah, Extra Life is much more of like an online thing. Like your stream is dedicated to Extra Life this day or week or whatever. I don't. Yeah, it seems like they don't have good maybe local or physical meetups.
There's just one thing that really annoys me is when people like, oh yeah, let me follow you, and then I'll follow them, and then just nothing ever happens. Like we won't ever stream together. It's like I just do it as a kind gesture. Yeah, I'll follow you. Like, but I was like, you know what, dude? I gotta get that mentality now, dude. Like, there's certain chemistry with certain streamers too. Like I feel like Twitch LA, they're not organized and they don't like I can't stream with someone like there's a big streamer named Chazzy V that is in Twitch LA. I can't stream with that guy because we're just totally different people. Like my type of stream, his is like way kid friendly. I'm like the way I am. We can never mesh, but like we're still cool with each other. But we just can't stream with each other. So I just feel like they got to do a better job of like implement. Oh, this guy's this type of streamer. You should, talk to this guy. But it's a Wild West. When you go there, you just sign in and they're like, okay,
Grassroots.
yeah, just talk to people. I mean, I played a board game and it was cool, and I networked with people. But I feel like I'm never gonna ever talk to them or stream with them or do whatever with them. And I just follow them for no reason. Time to unfollow.
Damn.
I'm just saying. Just keep it in.
At least
Keep it
when
real,
it comes to like Instagram, like my main like only account technically. I'll start following artists like tattoo artists because I'm like looking for someone's style so I can like kind of just get an idea of what type of tattoo I want. And I start getting a lot of people following me like just randomly, like they're all within the industry of tattoos. So it's just like, I don't know if that's how Twitch is going to work, when you follow more people, you'll get more people to follow you too. But just a thought.
Well, I don't think you do it with your clips, but you never do any sort of post like, hey, I'm
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
live. I think that's where it could come in handy, is when, hey, I'm online, and like now that you have a following, maybe they'll be like, oh, click follow.
Twitter's dead. My Instagram's semi popping, but people just want me to play Grand Theft Auto. I might play Roblox. Some guy.
I remember listening to you. You're like, is it free though? And they're like,
and he's like, he didn't say no. He didn't say no. I was like, I'm gonna throw it, just surprise him one day. Like, yeah, I'm playing. Boom, Roblox. What's up, motherfuckers? He didn't say no. He didn't say no.
Is it free though?
What was I gonna say? Shoot, it went away. Whatever.
Yeah, I want to play Undertale. I think it just shot up to the list. I heard one song from Deltarune.
Oh my god!
And I was like, okay, if the music is just like that.
You haven't heard the music?
No, I was like, dude, top 5 best video game soundtracks.
It's
just
amazing.
from that one fucking song. I was like, dude, I can't believe it's a remix too. I was like, this song is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like how he's just like,
Because I get recommended video game remixes, and I'll play them like, oh, this Zelda, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh, it should be good. Sucks. Animal Crossing sucks. Deltarune, I'm gonna give it a shot.
hey, I gotta say, Animal Crossing, some of those remixes are pretty fucking.
Yeah.
He's like, you crossed the line, motherfucker. No, I can't wait for you to listen to some Megalovania is one of the songs from
Undertale?
It's fucking
Fuck,
you're
dude.
gonna be like
easily top 5 video game soundtrack.
I can't wait to like when we carpool, I'll start listening to
Jack Black. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, Jack Black did it in his Jablinski. He did like a Guitar Hero style game where it was one of the
that's cool.
Undertale songs. Yeah, I'm excited. I gotta play that game too. For me, did I say I watched Bohemian?
You did not.
So I watched Bohemian Rhapsody. It's alright.
I think you watched Double Feature, right?
I watched a couple of movies. Yeah, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody. I watched Alita.
Actually, I think you did.
I did probably. Okay, I
Yeah,
think
'cause
I was like,
Alita
this
is
sounds
the
familiar.
one.
When I
Yeah.
mentioned Alita, I was like, I think I've talked
Yeah.
about. And then Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, so that was last week. So then this week I watched Captain Marvel. He's alright.
Yeah.
It's hyped. It's. I think it's too hyped.
Because the thing is, normally, like, I will see, like, posts about, like, people saying, like, either it's too hyped or it's just like, I didn't see any of that. I mean, I didn't really see any, like, oh, my God, it's amazing. But, like, it just wasn't there at all for me.
I'm worried. So they did something, like when I'm saying it's all right, it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's right. Like,
It's all right.
it's just all right.
It's still better than most DC movies.
Yeah. It's not. I would say Wonder Woman was better for me,
okay.
except I hated the ending of Wonder Woman. I felt like this movie had things that I liked about it. There are some expectations that get messed with, which I enjoyed, and I think whenever you guys watch or look at spoilers, there's some things where it's like, okay, where's the Marvel Universe? Where can it go regarding this subject matter?
And assuming there's after credits.
It's a Marvel movie.
Stanley cameo.
It's a good one. It's a solid. I think they did it. That was one of the parts I really enjoyed. The acting I thought was pretty solid. So her character, it felt the movie to me. And again, I'd love to talk more when we all have a little bit more kind of experience with it. It felt very cookie cutter in a lot of ways. It's like this is the insert this type of scene. This is the insert this type of scene.
I hate that.
And it felt that it didn't feel genuine in a lot. There were moments that felt genuine, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm in. But then there was a lot of moments I'm like, okay, we're probably in the third act now. Okay, I don't know, but the moments I liked, I thought were like, okay, they could take that and go in the future with something. And in some ways, I'm like, maybe this is in future. Like I remember seeing Thor 1, and I was like, that was okay. It wasn't great. It was all right. Thor 2, I don't remember how I felt at the time, but it's like one of my least favorite Marvel movies. But then we got Thor 3. It's one of my favorite movies of Marvel, of like in general. And I'm wondering if at some point they can do that sort of whatever people think of this one, if it gets like a tonal like shock. Because in a lot of ways it felt like they were leaning in some directions. I would have liked them to just crank it more in that direction. They didn't go as far as I wanted them to. Like her character is essentially like, I'm worried that with Avengers, because this is not, again, from what you see in the story, it's from how they've portrayed her in the trailers and stuff. She's a badass. She's a Superman level character. In the comics, she's like a CD level kind of like, only until recently did she become big. and it's largely because of the Miss Marvel that came after her.
Yes.
What's her name?
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan. She's been fantastic.
She's
I
cool.
love like what they're doing with that. So if it leads into that, that could be really interesting. But in terms of her, I think what they're doing is just like giving them a powerhouse. And I'm worried that in Avengers, they're going to just be like
That's the easy
problem
one.
solver.
Yeah.
Like, this is our answer. This is our John Cena. This is our Roman Reigns.
So does it show her that, like, does it show that power in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is an old, like, the timeline, it's in the past. So
Yeah,
I don't know to what level it'll go or whatever.
Well, she more training at this point.
Maybe.
More
They
But-
didn't touch upon Endgame at all. Like
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. For me to give more criticism, we'd have to go into details, and I don't want to go into details.
Okay.
But if you care about the Marvel films, this is like the next one, so I'm sure you'd be interested. It just didn't. I went with a little bit high, like not like it was going to be amazing, but I was like, this is going to be a good time, and I came out being like,
And it still was disappointing.
it was an
I
okay
hate
time.
the scrolls. I could care less about them. So like, it doesn't. The villain doesn't appeal to me.
I think you'd be interested in how they portray him. They did something different that I didn't. That
Hey, they live, dude.
like okay, they did with this, regardless of the scroll. Like I look at what I say that about Captain Marvel. She's a C-list or whatever. But I look at what before the Marvel movies, what Iron Man was, and he was like a CB.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians is another example. In terms of comics, they were like okay,
Yeah.
not the best, but they were like an all right team. They weren't the all powerful Justice League or Avengers team. But then the movies made them relevant, and then that brought this resurgence. Same with with Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. revitalized that character and like became a fucking phenomena and everything, both in the movies and in the comics. So I'm wondering, as she gets more screen time, Brie Larson is going to maybe take the role and make it her own and do something, because she has good chops and stuff. But I don't know. I think there's this whole other thing going on with this movie that's just bogging it down. The conversation of like. She's been like shit talking movie critics, and then other people are shit talking the movie, and then there's fake reviews, and then it's just like this is a movie.
Yeah.
Like fucking take all that extra shit on either side and throw it away. Like I think that is taking the conversation, and it's becoming like a message for something else. I'm like, just take it for what it is, and it's a movie, and have a good time.
You're telling me this movie's a metaphor for something? We just had a podcast. You didn't bring that up.
Spoilers. Acting was good. Brie Larson was so cool. Jude Law was cool. The guy that plays the Skrull, Ben, he's in Rogue One as the villain.
Oh, Mendelsohn.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's
I
also in
love
Ready
that
Player One.
dude.
He-
He does
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
no the
Yeah, Ready Player One.
shoot, man, I'm terrible with remembering stuff. Continue, please.
He surprised me.
Yeah.
He was enjoyable, and he had like extra sass to him that made him like a fun person to like see
Black
on
Mirror.
camera.
No,
Black Mirror.
is that the guy I'm thinking about?
What episode? He was in that.
I guess
I
it's
haven't
not.
seen
no,
enough.
no. I'm thinking of
John-
one person
John
specifically.
Hamm.
No, there's it was the one where it's him and it's like wife or girlfriend. It's fine.
I think I know. Was it the one with the eye you could record?
Yeah.
It wasn't him. It was the guy from Rock and Rolla,
Okay.
like a Guy Ritchie film. He's
yeah,
a skinnier guy.
Okay.
But he was good. And then the one thing I'll say is the trailers to me made it look like Agent Coulson was a lot more in this film.
Mm-hmm.
He's barely in this movie. Sam Jackson's in the movie considerably. So yeah, it's
At
not
a
too
younger
long,
age.
huh?
At a younger
Does it
age.
show him how he loses his eye in
Yeah.
this film? Yeah.
There's a lot of things where you're like, we're gonna explain how this is, how it like it made me think of the movie Solo, because Solo was very much that, for better or for worse,
The
where it was like,
parsecs.
this is how he gets this is how he gets that, and I was like, I get it.
This is why people misunderstand the parsecs thing.
Yeah. This had a lot of moments where I was like, because it was in the past.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Take it for what you will. I'm curious what you guys think. You guys might be a little bit higher on it, but
I'll watch it before the next podcast for sure.
I won't watch it for the next podcast.
It'll be a two spoiler. He'll ask
Stream Life, dog.
yeah.
Stream Life.
Well, then stream it while you're watching.
Yeah. play this new game.
I just got power up.
It's a cinematic. I can't skip the cutscene. All right, guys, where can people find you?
They can find me at the Fulio365 on Instagram and in the Fulio everywhere else.
At The Last Bosses Everywhere. IGTV. Let's go.
And you can find me at Kujo Prime. You can find us all at the Weekly DLC. Check us out. Leave us a review. Like us. Share us. Anything we would appreciate. And with that, we'll...
DLC.
You later.